All right. Well, we apologize for that. We're kind of
Medication break.
right. Yeah.
Sorry, folks.
A little early for that, right?
Right.
All right. Well, we do apologize. But we'll get back on track here. We were talking about the Senate Bill 616, 617, and 618. We had the pleasure of going to the Capitol yesterday. I met with Greg Francisco, director for the Michigan Medical Marijuana Association. Also had a couple gentlemen from the various compassion clubs out on the west side of the state, Holland and Muskegon, respective areas. Good guys out there, Dan and Ron, that came along with us. And also another great guy from the Montrose, Saginaw area, Scott, was able to join. So the five of us trucked in there, went to a couple different representatives, and then we also were able to get into the Senate building down there at the Capitol, and we were able to meet with Senator Kuipers, which was a surprise. We actually went in there to just get an appointment and ended up being accommodated to sit down right away. So that was pretty exciting. We also got to meet with Senator Kahn from the Saginaw area, and it was fantastic to be able to do that. So what we want to do is kind of share with you about the bill, about our visit yesterday, and let you know the inside perspective on this. Obviously, it's a hot topic. For those of you that haven't heard already, the Senate Bill 616 through 618 that's being proposed, obviously it started in the Senate, would need to go through various stages in order to become passed. So I guess the first thing we'll mention is that because this was a people-voted initiative, the law that we have currently, we need to have a supermajority passed in the Senate in order for this to even become into law, which means 75% would need to pass this in the House and Senate. Therefore, that's almost unattainable no matter if we were voting for M&Ms at the end of the day. That'd be tough to get. So at any rate, though, we do want to address this because the things that it brings up are important issues that we're facing right now. There is a need for regulation, reasonable regulation, and there is a need for having controllability and quality and service and all of the things that we want to make sure that Michigan patients are allowed to have and would expect. And not that the current law doesn't provide for those avenues, however, it may not be as conducive to that as it could be. And so we do want to address these issues. And one of the things that the senators brought up is that the main reason for proposing this bill was not just to, fry the voters or violate the people's will. The reason they brought it up was to bring these issues on the table and discuss them. Now, I got to admit, part of me thinks that, well, you had your chance before the bill was put through.
Okay, that's kind of my feeling on it too.
Yeah,
but
I
they
definitely
are right
feel that way.
In a general sense that we do need to do a little bit because on our own side we do want to do some reformation of the law.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it is a good topic to talk
Yeah,
about. But the way that they brought up the law wasn't the way to start the conversation.
I would agree. I mean, if they wanted to have a conversation, I don't know why they couldn't have just invited us to sit down. But at any rate, they have now. So we'll take that invitation, and we really appreciate it. To do that is exactly what we were hoping to have, is just simply a voice at the table, not just a voice at the office. And so we're going to have that opportunity. We're very thankful for it, and we'll hopefully be able to utilize it to its fullest potential. But again, these issues that we're bringing up here are issues that we need to be concerned about as patients and as a community as well. We want to make sure that drugs stay off the street. We want to make sure that the medication stays in the prescribed or recommended patient's hands. We want to make sure that it's quality. We want to make sure basically anything that any reasonable, responsible adult would want, we want that as well. The method that we get to that is kind of how we're arguing, or what the debate is about. So with this bill here, that what it is they're saying that they want to have it be prescribed. It needs to be distributed through a pharmacy, and it also needs to be grown in what I would consider a mass facility. And right now, to give you an example, they're providing for 10 facilities across the state to provide Michigan's entire produce to its patients.
Now, would a patient be able to grow for themselves then, or would they have to get it from the grower?
No, this would be all from the pharmacy. You could not grow your own with this bill.
So the law that 63% of Michigan voters just voted on would go out the window at that point, and we would initiate something all over.
Yeah, if this bill were to pass, it would completely rewrite the law. There's no question of that.
Well, now, marijuana is not a Schedule 2 or 3 drug, so how would they even get away with prescribing it? I mean, the FDA are regulations on it.
Oh, you're absolutely right. The bill poses many issues, and these are issues that the senators thought of. They're not dummies. They know how things work, and they know what they're doing. So let me further explain. But some of the predicaments that the bill brings up are serious issues that I don't think the senators intended to put there. And the response has been, not violent, but close to. I mean, we've really done a good job of making our voices heard. They've heard us loud and clear. What the heck are you doing? But I don't think that they meant to just totally disrupt this program. I think they honestly wanted to bring a talk to the table, and so we're glad to be able to have that talk. I think they could have gone about it a little bit differently than what they did, but I'm not a government person, so maybe that's how these things work.
Right, and not to cut you off, but if you guys want to, chime in, ask a question, you can call us at 810-208-1854, or you can type in on flinttalkradio.com. You just enter the chat, enter in a name, and you can ask any question to Jeremy, myself, or Barb.
Yeah, if you have questions about this bill, please, now's the time to address that. Again, a mass facilitation of these growers would really put a limit on distribution. I mean, obviously, simple economic supply and demand. Could 10 facilities really house the production needs of Michigan's patients? The ability for the patient not to be able to take care of themselves, I think, is absolutely terrible. I mean, anytime you take away someone's ability to take care of themselves is preposterous.
Oh, and also, doesn't it kind of, kill all the jobs that we could create with this law?
Absolutely, Tom. I mean, that's a big deal. You've got a potential of 10,000 plus jobs just on the caregiver side if you have 50,000 patients on a 5-to-1 ratio. So that's a huge amount of potential for economic growth, and all of the side shooting business that would result from that as well. I mean, if you've got 10,000 growers in the state, you're going to have a whole lot of grow shops and things that would need to supply these guys to keep them continuing to do their job. The senator's concern on that, though, was that, okay, well, now we've got a cash crop sitting in a house, and we don't want patients being violated or broken into to get this cash crop at harvest time once they find out that a grow is going on there.
Well, in my opinion, you're violating a patient by making them go to a pharmacy and pay in pharmacy prices for medication that they could grow themselves for a lot cheaper.
Oh, I agree 100% with that. But something else to consider, if a patient is taking care of themselves, and let's say they are growing 12 plants, even if they were to harvest all 12 plants at one time, it's probably not anywhere near worth what their maybe their TV is, or their jewelry sitting around, or maybe their stash cash box, whatever. I mean, it's not like
everyone
it's going to be
valuables sitting in their
absolutely
home.
And the amount of that 12 plants is going to produce for their personal patient is not going to be any more valuable than anything else that would already be in a home. So I understand what they're saying. I want people to be safe as well. We need you to be safe and conscious of when you're doing your thing, that you're discreet. But I don't think we need that kind of protection. I mean, come on.
Right.
So, and again, we're not trying to manufacture prescription drugs, so it does take that element out of it. We don't need a scientific lab to accomplish our medicine. We can do it in the privacy of our own home or in the backyard, wherever it's legal, of course.
Right.
But, and we certainly understand the need for privacy, discretion, and security. We're not saying we don't.
Right.
So, but at any rate, the senators were very responsive to us coming in. They're very open. We sat down. We not only discussed the bill and the problems with it very openly, very clearly, but we also were able to, with Senator Kahn's staff, start to relay some of the solution. It's not just that we have a problem. We have solutions as well. Michigan Medical Marijuana Association and the Compassion Clubs are working very hard to implement these things across the state with what we currently have available, and also as far as advocating the future. What do we want to see? Well, I don't want to see it in a pharmacy. I want to see it in a nonprofit organization. I want to see it going back into the community. I want to see the community benefiting from it and giving to it and being cyclical. I mean, that would be a lot better impact on Michigan and Michigan people versus having it go through a large corporate channel where the select few who can afford to buy stock in a company that might be, doing this sort of business would benefit that from. I mean, come on. Most of us here, our portfolios just went like that in the last year and a half for those of us that had a portfolio. And there's a heck of a lot of people that don't know what that is. And that's a fact in Michigan. So we need that growth here. And that's a big point of why I don't want to see that happen. I want to see it be indigenous right here in Michigan, self-taken care of. And we have companies that are already starting to be able to benefit from this. So the realistic growth, economic growth the potential of it is real. And we want to see everybody be able to benefit from that. So we do have solutions that we want to sit down and talk about. We've been invited to the table by Senator Kuiper. So, again, he's a reasonable man. And we're going to be able to convey our interest in the patient's concerns and let them know where we're coming from.
Right.
So, and again, we told them, we said, basically, look, we agree. We want reasonable regulation.
Yeah.
But what we're proposing here is unreasonable. And so let's work together to come up with a happy medium that supports everyone. And hopefully we'll have an agreement
right,
that we can work with.
And it's great because, as you said, when you walked into their offices, they had already knew that we knew about the bill. And so, I mean, this isn't just, what I've done, what you've done, what, Greg and Brad at the MMA have done. This is what everybody in the whole community has done.
That's right.
With the calling into their local reps and senators and writing but I think that brings us up to a completely different subject, but would be like more of an etiquette of how are you supposed to handle yourself when you get into a conversation with, your senator, your rep, or even with just the community itself when who are you standing for?
That's right.
And how you should stand up for yourself and, present yourself.
That's right. One of the things that Senator Kahn's staff said when we walked in is they said, well, first of all, we want to thank you for coming in because you're being positive. We appreciate you coming in and being professional because a lot of the folks that we've had call in weren't. And I told them, I said, well, that's not a problem, of course. But the bill that you wrote almost kind of deserves that response. So you have to understand what you just told these patients was that we're going to take it all away from you. It probably won't be available again for years, if ever. And when it is available, you're going to have to go through hell and high water to get it.
Right.
So I think once we were able to tell them that, they maybe understood a little bit more the reason for the type of response they got. But, what Tom's talking about here is very important. If you want to be truly effective, you do need to have a professional approach, appearance, and candor. You need to be respectful of these people. They are people in authority. Not that they're going to grab your arm and take you to jail, but they make decisions. And if you go in there acting like a buffoon, you're going to be a representation of what you're in front of.
Right.
This is a medical marijuana community that we're trying to establish with positivity, with responsibility. And so when you're out there at these, talking to people, whether it be at a Compassion Club meet, online, anywhere where you're talking about medical marijuana, you're instantly a representative because you are. It's brand new.
Oh, it sounds like we got our
first caller. All right. Thanks for calling in. Hello, are you still there?
But while he's taking the call and making sure that it's someone
they're
actually
not
trying
to cuss
to call
us out,
for us. Right? But one thing that we want to touch on is dress for success. I mean, that's probably one of the weirdest classes or events you ever had in school, but that is, it is key to what we're trying to do here.
And a lot of communication nowadays isn't in person, so
right.
Your dress is, and nowadays it's making sure the words are spelled right, that the etiquette is there in your written form, and if you want help, man, we've got all kinds of examples of letters to send in. You slap your name on that sucker and send it in.
Right.
It's easy,
And so
I think the main thing's the attitude, though.
Yes,
Be respectful, understand that they're working, they're doing their job. This is just one part of their job.
Right. And also when we're dealing with politics, we don't want to just throw everything we know at them and start going in all
you don't want to flood them,
Well, because, when you look at
You have a caller?
All right.
Let's take
Renee
the caller.
Wolf?
Okay.
Oh, Renee.
Renee.
Well,
hello.
Hi, Renee. How are you doing?
I'm trying to stay calm.
How are you?
A little early.
Always. That's Coalition Advocating Legal Medical Marijuana.
Very good, Renee.
good.
You're a little early here, catching us off guard.
But that's fine.
I'm sorry.
That's
No,
okay.
anytime.
We're gonna take
Anytime.
Right.
We're
yeah.
gonna take you right now. So I guess I better tell everyone Renee Wolf's on the line here, folks. Over from Ann Arbor. Renee's an MS patient, and she was supposed to be with us last week and didn't make it through. The phone lines were a little bit messed. So,
But we got that taken care of this week, and we're lucky to have Renee on the line with us.
how are you doing, Renee?
I'm trying to stay calm.
No, okay. Want
What-
to? Go ahead,
Yeah,
Jeremy.
what's egging you on, Renee? Let me hear it.
Anandamide.
Okay.
Okay, Renee, want to tell us a little bit why that's egging you on?
Yeah, every human being has in their brain cannabinoid receptors. When the cannabinoid receptors and cannabinoids are matched together in the brain, anandamide is automatically produced. Anandamide is tantamount or very important to anabolism occurring. Anabolism being the buildup of human cell structure. No wonder I smoke a joint and feel better.
Okay, Renee.
And I have a caregiver, and I have their information if anyone would be interested.
Well, is there a way that our listeners could possibly contact you, Renee? We don't really want to give that out over the show, but
Yes.
how could they get a hold of you?
Area code 734-994-4902.
Wow.
And
Okay,
that's,
can
Renee
you say
Wolf.
that? Can you say that one more time, Renee? Some of us aren't that quick.
Repeat it one
Area
more.
code 734-994-4902.
All right, thank you, Renee.
And that's over in the Ann Arbor area, correct, Renee?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Grandma, for calling me.
Well, thank you, Grandma Marijuana, and thank you for your little tidbit there on a little
Anandamide.
anandamides and a little education of what's going on in our brains. Now maybe we can.
Everybody has to know this.
Well, you just told a lot of listeners, and I thank you.
Well, that's all we can do is communicate.
That's all we can
That's
do.
right.
Thanks for your call, Renee.
Thanks,
I'll talk
Renee.
to you soon, okay?
Yes, and thank you very much. And God bless all of you for all you do.
Hey, thank you,
Thanks,
Renee.
Renee.
You
God
too.
bless you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've had some good conversations with Renee at our meets, and she's right on the money, folks. You can look it up in a scientific book. Look it
Right.
up on Medscape. That's the real deal. You have cannabinoid receptors in your body. Your body is meant to receive it. It is
Right.
not a bonded molecule. It joins. You're made to have them.
Right, and
So,
the thing she didn't touch on is not every animal has them. Only certain animals have them. I mean, so it's like there's a reason why just certain animals have them. There's a reason why the humans have them, and there's a reason why that this just plain old plant that was grown on this earth works that way.
Yep.
I mean, everything else links up. And if there's scientific data behind it, we go right behind it. Yeah, sure. But for some odd reason, we just cannot get over this one hump. And when we do, it's going to be a great world. I really do think it'll.
Well, back to where we
Yeah,
were,
we were,
boys, before we
yeah.
got Renee's call.
We're on a
Thank you, Renee. We love
and
it.
real quick again, if anybody didn't catch Renee's number, that's 734-994-4902. But we were on proper etiquette and how to, stand up. Or
Yeah, I mean, Renee's a good example of that.
Right.
Here she is. She's a MS patient for years. She's done some things in the past that might be a little bit outside of the realm of proper etiquette, but sometimes that type of action is called for. She helped pave the way for a lot of us. But when you're having these conversations, whether it be with just somebody at your local pub or park, whatever,
Right.
whether it be that or a letter that you write to your representative or senator, whether you're speaking at a compassion club, whatever it is, anytime you talk about medical marijuana right now, you're a representative because there's only so many of us right now in the state that are willing to even talk about it.
Yeah.
So please remember to represent all of the people that are behind you, because we all are behind you.
Yeah, I mean, anytime we walk into the Capitol, we are, representing 10,000 patients.
That's
you know.
right. And you are too. So that's what we want you to convey to you, and just hope that you be able to make sure to mind your manners, basically. So,
Right.
and you get a lot more. What is it? You get a lot more bees with honey.
Right, yeah, and if you guys are planning on making any trips down to the Capitol and you want to know how to, do the things that we do and how to go about, give us an email. We can, direct you and talk to you about how it is to present yourself in front of these people.
Yep. Was it 3 people yesterday?
Okay.
Were volunteers from different areas that just said, "Hey, we want to come along." So now I can't take a band down there. I can't fill up a bus and go down there.
But this is, for local compassion.
for just
Club,
anything, whether it be you want to make a phone call, send an email, write a letter, and you're unsure, get a hold of us, email us, and we'll help you through the process. And if you don't feel like typing, we'll get you an example that you can just slap your name on and send that too, because anything's better than nothing.
Right.
So, and obviously we've already been heard, so let's continue to let them hear us. Don't stop now. It's not over yet, and it's not going to be over
No.
for a long time. So get involved and stay involved. Make it a habit. Put your contact, if you're a computer person, get your contact info out and plug it into your computer so that it's right there. And anytime you hear something or want to say something,
I also did the other day compile 11-page Word document of every single senator in the state, their hometown, because sometimes they have a lot better pull in their hometown than they do in the town that they are a rep in.
okay.
So if you want to call your hometown senator because he's, grew up there and you know him a lot better than you might know your own representative. I have every single rep's name, number, and everything like that put into one document because trying to find it online is a pain.
Yeah.
So if
Now,
you
you
guys
can
want
get
that
the-
information, give me an email and I can shoot you the whole document. So
That's awesome. I mean, the kind of info he has is the stuff you have to search for. You can also go to michigan.gov and download the regular contact list for your representative or senator in your respective area.
Right.
So very easy to do so. So I think that's the gist of what we wanted to cover there for today's hot topics. Just mind your manners,
right,
and stay active.
Again, at Compassion Clubs, we want to touch on just one more time, no transfer genetic material. That's not what they're set up for. Because I have been getting a couple emails again lately, people asking, so do I have to bring my card? Will I be able to get marijuana there?
Yeah.
No, but we can, direct you into the way of being able to get some.
Right. We don't. There's no transfer of any
Right.
genetic material at these meetings. That's what we do to stay within the boundaries of the law, to stay safe. We're going to continue that. But we do want to let you know that if you're coming to get information or find people, whether it be you're looking for a caregiver or looking for a patient, that's a place to come to.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're preaching the law here. So if
Yeah.
we find that you're not following the law, we're definitely going to kick you out on your hiney. And another thing is, please make sure that you're respectful. These Compassion Club meetings are starting to get rather large. The leaders cannot be completely responsible for controlling everybody there. So make sure you mind your manners while you're in the premises.
Right.
Be courteous to them. So, but I think that's enough on that. We'll stop being grandmother to you and move on to something a little more fun. But we say that because we want you to be effective. And we know that you can be. We're just trying to help you be. So, but I think next... I can't read your handwriting, Thomas. Terrible. I think our go ahead.
Oh, well, no. One thing that I just kind of wanted to get into a little bit.
Call to action.
Well, I get okay. All right, fine. We'll go
He's
into
getting excited. Don't mind him. He's overexcited.
All right. Segment 3, I guess we'll go into then, which is
Yep.
we haven't got a name for. If
Still waiting for the vote.
Right.
We're still with Girl Talk right now.
All
Until
right.
tomorrow night, folks, at the meeting. It's very important. All the women out there again, Genesee County, surrounding areas, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, Colonial Lanes. And that's the first thing on the agenda for the women. We have to get
Thank you.
We have to get a name going for the club. And as you can see today, girls, I am sporting the shirt I think that we will probably be wearing in our color pink. It says Women's Chapter on it, and very nicely done. And these will come with your registration for the club for a year of registration. So please, tomorrow night, again, Compassion Club meeting, Women's Chapter. We need to vote on a name. We need to get a theme song going. Theme song, easy for me to say. A few things, memberships or shirts. We have a fundraiser being planned. I need some good women out in the community, and we need for you to show up at that meeting tomorrow night so we can get started on a few of these things.
Yes, please.
And-
We want ladies there.
Yeah.
Right. And once again, you don't, if you're not a
Oh, it
patient,
sounds so wrong.
that doesn't sound good, boys.
Our wives will be kicking us.
Right.
We'll be on the couch tonight.
In other
Oh, you
words,
get the couch? I'm going to be going to the garage.
are you insinuating you may be getting tired of looking at the same faces?
No,
there?
no, I'm
it's
just saying because
okay.
more the merrier.
Yeah,
right?
we're going, oh, yeah, we need ladies. Oh, yeah, we need them.
Right. And ladies, you don't have to be, like I said before, you don't have to be a patient or a caregiver.
No.
Because we're anybody out there. Anybody that needs the need to be wanted to join a group that's going to produce a lot of good for the community, this is a group you need to be at.
Right.
Yeah. What you guys are trying to do is going to be outstanding. I mean, the things that we're going to be releasing the information on in the next few weeks of a big event that we have that's coming up in August. I mean, everything that you girls are putting into. I just want to come out and say it, but we can't because we don't have the date set yet. But I mean,
Yeah, a lot of good things starting to happen, and
Right.
the only way you're going to be able to find out
is to join.
is
That's
to
right.
join and
You
show
know,
up
so
tomorrow.
leave
And
it at
that's
that.
on Pearson Road, 7 o'clock tomorrow.
That's 6430 West Pearson Road, Flushing, Michigan, for you MapQuest or Google Maps people.
Yep. Meetings are open to the public. They're
yeah.
free.
So come on
don't bring
in.
any weed.
No.
And,
No.
we'll have a good time.
Yeah, good time.
We're going to go through a lot of the basic information at the meeting because we want to continue to be able to allow the public to come in.
Right, and now we're the Genesee County Compassion Club, so
That's
we
right.
kind of do all of Genesee County, and we know that there's people
And
from
even more, I think we've got people from Shiawassee,
Right.
Lapeer
And,
counties,
counties, yes.
Tuscola.
And so another really good thing I think that Barb was going to get into is there's going to be slowly starting to pop up little city ones.
That's right.
That
Kind of like
of,
chapters or additional portions of the club, I guess, if you
Right,
want to
and,
call it. So
I think we have one that's going to be popping up here in Genesee County. That's just a sub chapter of us, and we'll be filling in gaps during the weeks that we are. So Barb, if you have any information on that, that'd
I
be.
believe is that the Montrose Club that you're.
Yeah, Montrose.
Montrose Compassion Club.
Montrose Compassion Club, and we also have Saginaw.
Okay.
I believe.
Saginaw Community,
Community.
I believe Saginaw Community Compassion
Compassion
Club. One of the
Two new
gentlemen
ones.
that went with us yesterday to the Capitol, Scott Peters, he's the director, and he's a fantastic person and represents all of the things that we've been talking about. So if you're in that area, look him up, and I'm sure he'll be out at our meeting tomorrow night. So it'll give you an opportunity to meet him if that's in your area or you're interested in going to another CC meet. A lot of these folks have been going to multiple ones because they're a lot of fun. You get to meet a lot of people, and I haven't been to one yet where I didn't learn something.
Right.
So
Normally,
come on
anywhere
out.
I go with Jeremy, I learn something because Jeremy's just a source of information. If you get a chance to stand by this guy for 5-10 minutes at one of our meetings, you'll be walking away overwhelmed. And
I tell you, I was overwhelmed today too. I'm going to talk a little bit about a place that's right here in Michigan, probably one of the best nutrient lines in the world, and that I honestly believe that hands down. And spent the morning with a fantastic individual, and basically what I want to show you here is right here, Ionic Nutrients. If you haven't heard of it, get it. Literally, some of the best breeders in the world are using this stuff.
Right.
And I don't even know if I could say that, but I said that. But I'm telling you, this is the
you
bomb.
didn't say who they were.
It's
so
the
you're
bomb.
all right.
Bomb. And basically, the other cool thing about it, it's made in Michigan.
Yeah,
How
right,
cool is that?
Right here in Michigan is where the stuff's made. So, I mean, every time you buy it, that dollar stays right here in the state
That's
where we
right.
want it.
Yep. So, and you can pick it up over at Vans Hydro. They're right here in just north of Davison on M15. Their phone number is 810
Old Vans. Very
Old
easy
Vans.
to remember. Old Vans.
Now, is that a Z or an S? You know, they switch these things up nowadays.
That's an S, I
That's an
believe.
S.
Yep.
Okay.
Old Vans.
Just checking. Well, Vans shoes. Never mind.
Nope, not Vans shoes. We're talking about Vans Hydro.
Right. Yes. Vans Hydro.
That's,
As long as we're on your subject here of your shirt and my shirt here, that we're kind of on this segment right now, so I'm going to let everybody out there know that we kind of plug your club or business.
Yes.
If you have any club, compassion clubs, business, anything, this is your time, folks. Send us in a shirt, a one-page little blip on
Or your design, if you
your
you know.
design.
Right, yeah. No.
We'll help plug your club,
We'll
whatever
help
we can
plug your
do.
club, your business. Then this is a good time again right here to tell you about Ionic, one of the new ones. And then we have some old ones. We can go to Brighton. We can go to the Muffin Man there, and what a wonderful compassion club that they
That's
have
right.
there.
Yeah.
So maybe if the Brighton Club could send a shirt down and let us know a little bit about what's going on down in that area.
No,
Yeah, I
I
hear
think
that-
the Brighton Club just unveiled a new website.
Yeah,
Do
it's
we
awesome.
have that?
And we've got a new website for them, yes.
Okay.
And everyone's got their pen out there. It's brightoncompassion.ning, Ning.com.
Okay. All right.
BrightonCompassion.ning.com.
All right.
Ning.com, right. Get online.
Got a ring to the ning.
And for anybody that wants to know, we also have our own website, which is Genesee3c.com.
Yep, the number 3.
Yep, that's the
C
number
as in
3.
Charlie.
C as in
And
Charlie. Yep.
My face, Facebook.
Yep, we're on
Little
MySpace. That's Genesee Co CC. That's a / MySpace / Genesee Co CC. And then on Facebook, you just type us in as Genesee County, one word, and Compassion Club, one word. And then that'll take you right to our
Facebook
page.
Yeah. So we're doing our best to get out there. Please check us out. And I
Right.
think on our website, you can join up, become a member
Yep,
on there.
right.
Another website I wanted to mention that's actually being put together by a group of guys in Lansing that are also helping with the Eastside Lansing Compassion Club. MarijuanaU.com.
Great website. I
Holy
got to go and
smokes.
play around on that website the other day, and I mean, the information on there is just phenomenal.
Well, and that's the thing, Tom, is that that is just getting started. This is kind of a collection site of information for people that are trying to cultivate. And it's a way that you can monitor and share and learn just about simply growing techniques. So if this is for the people that are trying to perfect their craft or improve their craft, to share information with other people that are doing the same thing. I think that's basically what it's going to be going towards.
I kind of overheard you guys last Tuesday when we were down there for the meet, but wasn't he saying something about tracking strains and
strains, matching strains to nutrients so that you can say, okay, for instance, this type of strain here responded well to this type of nutrient, but when we mixed in this other supplement, it had
pH
this effect.
Levels and
yeah,
everything.
Exactly. So, does it do better at 5.7 or 6.2? So this is very technical information, but as you're learning, you're going to find that your knowledge is going to grow. And if you enjoy what you're doing, you're naturally going to want to know more. And this is a great way to find that info out from other people that are in Michigan, basically. And I'm sure they'll have other people from other states eventually.
I mean, this website is going to blow up. I have a feeling that that's going to be a grand resource for people that want information.
Yeah, check that out. Marijuana, just simply the letter U.com. Very, very cool.
And may I interrupt here, as long as we're on the subject of growing, for the women out there also, the women's chapter is not going to be just about making the muffins and doing fundraisers and that too. We also will be offering little classes and tidbits for the women who like to grow out there and get their fingers a little bit dirty.
Yeah.
So, it's not just about the women's things. Yes, anybody interested, need to ask those silly little questions, come on to the meeting. We'll get them answered.
Yeah. And one more thing we want to mention is that at Vans Hydro and at also Superior Grower Supply in East Lansing, for the folks that are listening from that area, members are receiving 10% discount. So here in Genesee County Compassion Club members and Michigan Medical Marijuana Association members will receive a 10% discount off all their purchases at Vans Hydro. Mm-hmm. And also Michigan Medical Marijuana Association members will receive 10% off their purchase at Superior Grower Supply, located in both East Lansing and Livonia. So highly recommend both places. They both carry ionics, so check them out. And again, Michigan businesses. Let's go, Michigan.
Let's go.
Well, since we're on the topic, I got a nice little present the other day from a good friend of ours, Shane. He delivered me one of his vaporizers, which I must say I have been having a hard time pulling myself away from it. I mean, this is just a quality machine.
I watched Shane on a video the other day, and I tell you,
when he's showing you the amount of hits that he is getting off of,
amazing.
And
amazing.
Hold on, we can't. Easy boy, easy.
No, but the one thing I want to talk about is just I was just so amazed by the amount of medicine that I saved.
Yeah.
I mean. And then the best part about it is, compared to conventional smoking, is you have leftover, which is great
usable
for brownies, or for any medible for that. Really,
I will warn you: don't use it too much because then it won't be usable.
Right? Yeah.
Okay?
If you're burning it, But that's the greatest part about this. I mean, I've went over to another friend of mine who is also a patient, and he's got one of those cheaper ones that you buy at a little head shop or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I sat down, we used his, and then I looked at what his leftover was, and it was very brown and burnt looking. And I'm like, man, I was like, watch this. And we ran through that one. Sure enough, I mean, it's nice. I mean, some of the leaves that don't carry too much of the THC, you can still see are a little bit of green, because there's nothing really to pull there. And it doesn't burn it. So it does a really good job of what it's supposed to do. And this is also another thing that's, made in the USA, distributed right here in Michigan. All your money staying here in Michigan. Some money does go to, I think, California, where the parts are made, but it's all American money. Right. USA. So you don't have to worry about, getting, spending a bunch of money on something that's not made here.
Right.
So in the likes of trying to keep everything USA and spend.
Where do they find them at?
You can find them at vaporizerUSA.com, or you can also
USA. There we go again.
You can also get on MichiganMedicalMarijuana.org, and I believe he's got an advertisement on there as well. So
Yep.
You can click right on that, and that'll take you right to his page. So
yes.
Also, he will be at our meeting Thursday. So he'll have a table set up. You can ask him any questions, get a business card.
Take a look at one of the machines.
Right.
No testing.
No testing, unless he's got some flavored tobacco in one. So, but besides that, no testing. But so let's move on.
So
to
he'll be out there. One more thing I wanted to plug.
USA.
USA. I always want to plug the USA. Actually, Vans Hydro donated to us a 42-site cloner. I don't know if
I'm
anybody
just finding out about this.
Yeah, this is kind of a surprise.
Donated to me? No.
Dropping the show, dropping surprises. But yeah, actually, Charlie over at Vans Hydro has donated a 42-site cloner for the club that we are going to be raffling off. And we'll have that at the meeting tomorrow, hopefully. So
now, is this going to be an ongoing raffle, or are we just going to raffle this off the next meeting, give it away that night?
We're not going to be actually raffling the machine off tomorrow night. We'll be taking raffles for it, and it'll be there so you can see it. But we'll be raffling off probably about a month from today. And I think we're going to go ahead and we will announce the winner at our Compassion Club meet, which will be in July.
Yep.
And of course, we'll announce it on here on our Flint Talk radio show.
All right. Another thing, if you do like the shirts that we are wearing, well, actually, these two are wearing. I'm wearing a polo because no one sent me a nice shirt yet. No.
Well, you had to have a polo.
But one thing, if you do like them, we will be selling these shirts at our next Compassion Club meeting. So, they will be there. So don't be surprised if you see them or, be upset that, we didn't tell you beforehand because that happened the last time. Someone came up to me and goes, if you'd have told me you were selling all these shirts, I would have brought, some extra money. I want them all. I was like, well, sorry.
Well, we really appreciate that.
Right.
When you join Genesee County Compassion Club, you do receive a T-shirt and a membership card.
Yep.
So it's not like we're going to just be like, thanks for the money.
Right.
And
also,
that,
for any of our members that have signed up that don't know if they have gotten their card or
we're working on it.
Or have already bought a T-shirt.
Sure.
Let us know, and then that way we can do something for you to reimburse you for you paying for their T-shirt.
Yeah, we won't leave you hanging. You guys are the first. We won't forget you.
Right.
So, but I think that's enough plugging for now. I hope we didn't lose a bunch of listeners listening to us promote the area. But that's a big thing about the club is it's not just us. No. It's the area. It's the people around us, and we understand that there's going to be a lot of effects from what we're doing, and so we want people to benefit from it.
That's what we want. We want, the little coffee shops downtown to see foot traffic.
Speaking of coffee shops,
Okay.
what would be the bud of the week if we had a coffee shop? You think you can answer that for me?
Which bud would you select this week, Tom?
I think I would select Hindu Kush.
Hindu Kush?
Hindu Kush.
All right, give me some info on Hindu Kush. What am I going to get when I go to the imaginary bud store in the sky? What do I get?
Well, Hindu Kush is it's a Landrans strain, so that's where its lineage comes from. Its breeder was Sensi Seeds. So your average period of growing, because there is no magical bud store unless you go to the sky and find it. Which, if you have a car there,
you're on your own. Sorry, you're on your own.
But for your average flowering is 45 to 50 days. It's a pretty good yielder. It's not one of your low end yielders, but
is
it's not one of your top
sativa
end.
or indica?
That one is I believe it is a indica, if I'm not mistaken. I have to check real quick.
Oh, come on now.
I don't have it wrote down. See what you did to me?
I think I want to say Hindu Kush is a sativa, but let me check my facts here.
Yeah.
It's a Kush. Oh, yeah, it would be a sativa. I'm an idiot.
Well, and I believe that we know that the Kush strain originates from like the Indian type of, not American Indian. We're talking like Indian. Don't say that. Customer service.
Right.
No. Comes from that portion of the world.
Right.
Okay, and so that's basically where the land race portion of it comes from, is because it is a natural strain that wasn't really. There are many different types of crosses of Kush. Hindu Kush being one of those types of crosses. But what are we? Basically, you said 45 to 50 days, so that would be indicative of an indica strain. Let's double check our facts and see if we're right. Anybody listening want to correct us out there?
Well, as we're checking on that, the Hindu Kush is a short, single cola dominant indica that produces fat, sweet buds with a heavy sown. It is remarkably easy to grow and has a very short flowering period, perfect for an indoor grower or short season grower.
Okay. So what was the flowering time again? 45
to 50 days. And yes, it's an indica. I couldn't see, but I wrote it down like an idiot.
But again, and that makes sense. I mean, like we said, we came from it's Indian type strain, which would be like Himalayas, Pakistan, India, from that region. We know that it has a pretty short flowering time, which is indicative of an indica type strain. It was a very strong stone. I know that's many of the Hindu Kushes or the Master Kushes, the OG Kushes. A lot of those will have excess of 20% THC,
Right.
along with high CBDs and CBN content as well. So it's very good for medicating.
Have your coach nearby, in other words, or not? Will this one
well,
give you
it's-
some energy?
I can't
or
speak
what
from
will-
experience on that particular one. What is it? Does it give any type of indication on couch lock? or
It just
anything like
says it's
that?
got a heavy stone, so it doesn't say energetic. So I would assume that it would kind of give you more of a chill, relaxed feeling.
Usually heavy means go sit down.
Right. But it's recommended for chronic pain and
Okay.
muscle spasms, anti-nausea, and an appetite stimulant. Again, being one of the bigger ones is an appetite stimulant. So yeah, usually when you have the ones that are for chronic pain and muscle spasms and anti-nausea is more of a heavy compared to like muscles or not muscle spasms. I'm sorry. What's the word I'm looking for?
You lost me there.
I know.
You're not looking for
like-
muscle spasms.
No, like your multiple sclerosis is what I was looking for.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yes, MS. Yep.
Yeah, the other MS word, not muscle spasms, but multiple sclerosis.
Okay. Well, the information I just pulled up here, and that's the nice thing about the internet. You can just get it like that. Basically, it's telling us that it's the center of the world when we're considering indica strains. So it is a true pure indica, which would induce typical. It'd be very good for relieving pain, such as like what they're saying. Also helping with sleep and other types of symptoms that go along with that. Appetite as well would be a very good for taking care of that. The high THC content is obviously going to be good, again, for taking care of pain. The CBDs and CBNs are also pretty high in that as well. I think they're over 1% in both.
Oh wow! So yeah,
So a very good strain for medication. That's why it's wildly popular. A lot of the Kush strains are. OG Kush is probably one of the pinnacle strains out in California that a lot of other strains are measured by, which is another version of a Kush plant. So, but no, excellent for medicinal use.
Yes.
I mean, definitely a strain that would be worthwhile you taking a look at. So that was this week's Bud of the Week.
right.
And smoke them if you got them. All right.
You got enough? Pass it around.
All right. Next segment we wanted to get into quickly here. Just a little topic from Tom here he wanted to bring up that I think is very relevant. And it kind of brings to issue something that maybe a lot of people haven't thought about, but maybe after we got a lot of people playing hockey right now, right?
Right. Yeah, and that would be another prime aspect.
Hockey. I'm
know,
a football guy, so.
I'm just a huge sport nut in general, and I like to follow seeing people, when they get suspensions for marijuana use and such. One of the things that really bothers me is players of any sport in medical marijuana states not being able to use medical marijuana. Because to me, if you're, let's say you're a lineman for the Detroit Lions, and you're pounding into another 355-pound person every single day, it's okay for you to go home and take Vicodin and go sit in a hot tub.
Percocet.
Right. Any of those
Yeah.
drugs, as long as it's
Darvocet.
prescription, you can use. Which they have seen. I mean, the FDA just came out again with even more regulations on acetaminophen, which is the Tylenol, and Vicodin.
Yep.
So, why can't that player, if he is a registered voter and a
Registered
medical
patient.
right,
Yeah.
and a registered patient in
Yep.
a medical marijuana state, why can't he use medical marijuana? And that's one of the things that I really want to fight on and try to start, doing with sports, is being able to allow players to use it, because they've already proven that it's not stimulant and increasing your game and performance. It's not a performance enhancer. And also, if people want to say, well, it stays in your system longer. Well, so does Vicodin. I
Sure.
mean, Vicodin stays in your system for 30 days just as THC does. So what
Okay.
would be the difference? I mean, how about, the baseball player that puts in the big old thing of dip during the game?
Sure.
Do you not
Well,
think,
and I imagine there probably isn't anything for a player that if he was to take, let's say he had some pain before the game, is there anything now that would
what
prevent them
happens?
from taking some Vicodin right before he plays?
Please.
now they say that they don't induce those things.
Well, sure, they
but-
want to be at their peak performance anyways. But
normally, they take shots, the numbers, the
Okay.
kill pain, and but
and again, not that they probably would want to ingest cannabis
Right.
before the game either, but
and that's
just
not
making
even
a
the
point,
point I'm trying to make.
Right.
It's just I do believe that, if a player is in a medical marijuana state, they should be allowed to use medicinal marijuana because that is their law.
Without getting kicked off
right.
the team.
Well, without suspensions, fines from the league. I mean, because, how much money did Michael Phelps lose? I know Michael Phelps is not a patient. And his
I
score.
imagine Michael Phelps has probably at some point been prescribed some type of medication.
Oh, and I'm sure.
At some point.
And with his
guessing, I don't know.
with his injuries, he probably would qualify for a
yeah.
patient, being that he was in a state that
Right,
allowed it.
but that's what I'm saying is how much money did he lose just because of that? And had he been a patient, and had all those endorsements lost, how would it be if he was lost all of his endorsements because of Vicodin?
Yeah, and that's the thing. He didn't have to apologize because he was prescribed Motrin or anything else that would be a painkiller. But yeah, he has to go on national television and apologize because he used cannabis.
And I remember years back with Brett Favre. One of the greatest players in the NFL history at the quarterback position, who still might come back this year and keep on his game playing streak. He had a Vicodin problem back, I think it was in the later mid-90s. And he really didn't come out and say too much about it. Just said, yeah, I'm doing a rehab for it. I got a little bit too heavy on it, and this is it. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay. We all were like, oh, well, he's doing that, so it was fine. Mm-hmm. But the thing about it is sports players should be able to use any drug that is used for medicinal purpose that any other state can, or any other person can. Taking away a person's rights is completely
I agree. Why should they be restricted any more than anybody other citizen in that state is just because they are a national sports figure,
right?
Or even if they're not, even if they're on a state or amateur type. I think again this kind of goes back to the same issue we dealt with patients asking the question about employers and
right.
I'm looking out there looking for a job. I'm a medical marijuana patient, and yeah, they're going to have medical marijuana in my system. Well, what's the difference between that and having a Vicodin or all the other prescription drugs? What is the difference? And it doesn't change. We're not saying that, again, it's not okay to take any type of medication typically that's going to operate your motor skills or affect your motor skills before you're going into your place of employment, whether that be your ability to communicate or drive a truck or whatever it is. That's not what we're advocating here. What we're saying is you shouldn't lose your job for it just because it's cannabis. You shouldn't be discriminated against when it comes to employment.
Right.
So I know that the ACLU is very much at our ear, and I really appreciate that. And I hope that they help us take up this measure because right now there are people who should be able to legitimately medicate with this type of medication and not have to have fear of those two things, job loss or getting the job in the first place.
Right. Just like we were saying, it
whether
goes
it be
all
professional sports or whatever.
And no matter what it is, and I was just using professional sports because it's on that higher plateau. It's
and how common would it be that that would be appropriate?
Right. I understand when it goes to professional sports, steroids and such. I understand that. That's a game elevator. Those are things that can boost.
You're not gonna. You might put on a little mask because maybe you're a little hungrier every now and then.
Right. But those guys. Those linemen, look at them. And they're running all day. Well, no, and they run all day. And if you go through an NFL practice, and they still keep that mass. So they still eat like horses, no matter what they're smoking.
And you still have to go back to the thing. You have to be responsible,
right?
No matter if it's with your Vicodin, if it's with your marijuana, like you said, going to work. We know for a fact there's millions out there going to work every day on medication.
Oh, yeah.
You get up in the morning, you take your Vicodin, you take your Xanax, you take whatever you got to take, and believe me, you're out the door and away you go.
Yep.
But you're doing it in a responsible manner, so when you get to work, you can perform.
That's right.
So there is a difference there.
Yeah.
Right.
And it should go right down to your sports because why should they be any different as long as they're using their medication in a responsible form? It's a medication now. It's not against the law.
That's
it's
right.
not an illegal drug for them
right.
to where they should be booted off the team for it.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just a girl's opinion, guys.
Hey, no,
thanks.
But you're not a sports biased person either.
No,
so
there's a whole lot of women that play sports,
right.
and they're falling right in the same boat.
Exactly.
So that's absolutely.
So to wrap up our show, we normally do our call to action.
That's right.
And this week, what our call to action is what we want to do is we want to possibly introduce our own bill into the Senate.
Why not?
Because the senator did his, and I think we should have one that's by the patients and community. and see if we can get a couple reps or senators to back us.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, we have a basic foundation of what it is we'd like to see. We've already talked about that. Nonprofit corporations running as maybe a collective or a cooperative in working together with their community in areas that they are accepted and being respectful of areas that are not. So we definitely have the means to put this together and to make it happen. So, Tom, tell them what we're looking for.
Well, what we want you guys to do is, like I said, you can get a hold of me if you guys need the information. Get a hold of your House representative or your senator and tell them, look, we're trying to get a bill together. Would you, stand behind a bill that was made by the patients, for the patients, for the community?
Yeah.
Not somebody that was made that, or by the bill that was made from somebody that opposed
and
the
the same
whole
thing.
law.
We agree that we need different measures of regulation, but we need reasonable regulation. We need more commercial channels to provide the service that the patients deserve. So we agree there are issues on the table, but what we're saying is let's go ahead and present it from the patient's side, the people's side, the people who voted, the 3.5 million, the 63%. We've got something to say. So instead of you saying it for us, why don't we say it what we want? And we're looking for a representative or a senator that might be willing to work with us to pick up that ball.
And if we can get 3, 4, 5 of them, I mean, that's
as
even
many
better.
as possible. We have to be cognizant of the appropriate committees that they're in and whatnot. But Senator Kuiper's bill has been proposed. He's put it on the table, and that's perfectly fine. And we want to acknowledge that and work with it. But at the same point, there's no reason why we can't go right side and side with that, parallel to it, and introduce legislation or a bill that would be right from the get-go with our interest in mind.
Right.
And again, we want reasonable regulation. We're responsible, and we want the same things that any normal citizen human being would want. And but we probably just have a little bit of different idea how to get there. So looking for that person. So what we want you to do is listen on the audience is let your senators or your reps know that, hey, you're not the only one with ideas. We have some too. And we would like to find out if they'd be interested in helping us get through a bill that would help us in the area of regulation and control and availability and quality as well. All of those things that can be addressed. Let's go to work and let's do it ourselves and let's go ahead and get it taken care of. We agree that there's some things that need to be taken care of.
Right.
I don't think any of us suspected it to come this quickly. When the first passed, we thought, okay, there's a 2-year measure here where you can't change the law. Well, come to find out, I guess if you read these law books...
He's making an amendment to it. He's not trying to change the law.
Yeah,
so.
and again, that's left up to interpretation.
Right.
If you look at it, it is a complete 180-degree change.
Yeah.
So
It's a change, yeah.
and I don't think that
they
we really...
may
But
call
the
it
way that he
amending
put it
but
in,
it's
it was
a change.
an
Oh, yeah.
amendment. So he only has to get, half the votes instead of
that's what
3/4, and
is
that gets
being
into the whole
said, but
legality.
we don't agree. We think you'd still have to have a supermajority, and there are people that would agree with that are above us that count. Okay, but once again, I don't think any of us anticipated having to defend or to have a talk about this further means of advancement. So now that it's on the table, let's go ahead and act and let's get it done. So let's find out who is our friend. And that's what I'd like you to do. If you remember what we talked about earlier in the show, the proper etiquette and so on, now's the time to display that. Send an email, write a letter. If you want to go visit them, email us.
Yep.
We'll help you out with that. Make
Also,
a phone call.
If you guys want, us to deliver a letter for you, email us the letter. We can print it off. We go down there weekly, so we can hand deliver it right to their office. I mean, we walk in, talk to their secretaries every time we're down there. So they know who we are. So they know if we get a letter, it's from a patient, and it's someone that's concerned. So
Yep. So again, get involved if you would, please.
Yes.
And let's go ahead and represent our views. We're not asking for your help to actually write the wording. We're not going to be involved in that part of the process. But what we need to let them know is that process needs to exist.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and get that going. How much time we got left there?
4 or 5 minutes before.
All right.
Okay.
We got 4 or
Great.
5 minutes. Well, I'm going to tell all the ladies out there just one more time then
Yes.
before we get
Please,
out of here for
ladies.
today that I would like to see you all tomorrow night at the meeting. And
Yep.
that's all I can tell you. Just show up at the meeting once again, 7 o'clock, Colonial Lanes, Pearson Road. Grab a friend, grab 2 friends, 3 friends.
Yeah, I mean,
And the whole block, I don't care. Just grab as many as you can. We're looking for good women in the community, and I know you're out there. All you got to do is come on out.
right. And there's plenty of things that we need and through our group. And
Yep.
if you have a chance to send us, a copy of your resume, I mean, it doesn't have to be your actual work resume, but just of a list of things that you are good at or qualified in,
People
that
need
will
to
help
know. I
us
mean, that's
so much
yeah.
more, because people come up to us and say, what can I do? Well, what can you do? Because we need to know those things so we can point in the right direction. We don't need somebody that's great on computers working out on the road, handing out flyers. We
Right.
need them working on a computer.
On a computer.
So,
Correct.
So, and there are more and more things that we're now able to actually participate in, doors
Yes.
that are opening, events that are coming. So we are going to get to the point where we need help. We're having the women's group. We've got the Montrose Compassion Club. I'd like to see us have a VA section for our veterans. I'd like to have us have a wider, diverse group within our own large group here. So there's a lot of different things that we need to do. And we also need to start reaching out into the community through other channels besides our clubs and newspaper and so on. We need to go to some of these support groups. We need to go to some of these retirement centers and let them know that, hey, this is available. You can have it too. And there's a lot of people out there that just have no access to this information, have no idea of its existence, and we need help with that simple stuff. And it might be just a matter of dropping off a pack of flyers at your local assisted living center
Right.
or something like that. Or maybe next time you go into your physicians, you drop off a flyer, let them know, hey, we have patients that ask about it. Here's where they get the legitimate info that's going to teach them the right stuff and make sure that they stay legit.
I find that a very good place to start out, at your physician's office. If your physician is on board with you, he should have no objection to any of this, because, yes, they see the patients. They know the ones that need this medication and the ones that don't.
Right.
And we have physicians that are willing to work with us. So if you are looking for a physician, or maybe you feel uncomfortable approaching your own, make sure you come on out to the meeting or email or contact us. We'll get you connected with the right people so that they can evaluate you properly, and then we'll hear your case.
And I believe July 17th, we're having the clinic here in Flint. Is moving again. Yes, I
All
believe
right.
so.
Okay, yeah,
And it's coming to the Upper Peninsula, also up in Marquette again. I believe
is this the THC clinic?
THC clinic's
Oh,
on the move
awesome.
again. So July 17th, yes, any patients out there that's having trouble with their doctors, don't know where to go, what to do, again, come to the meeting tomorrow, get online, contact somebody, because they will be here soon. In the Upper Peninsula, all those who are watching up there in Marquette, because I'm a Youper. Yes, I am.
And you can, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And you can get all the contact information for the THCF on the Michigan Medical Marijuana website at michiganmedicalmarijuana.org. And so you can get an appointment set for that time, because it's not a first come, first serve thing. It's a set appointment.
Correct. Yep. And
That's
that's
awesome.
all I wanted to say in that, because, we can fix you up.
All right, Jeremy,
Too cool.
any last things?
No, just thanks for joining us. Wow, what a crazy, awesome time right now is just fantastic. So if you want to have some fun, come on out, get involved, come to the meeting tomorrow. You're going to meet some great people.
Yeah, it's tomorrow night, 6430 West Pearson Road, Flushing, Michigan. It's Colonial Lanes. We are in the banquet hall connected to the food court. So when you walk in, if you walk in through the bar, you'll turn to the right, walk all the way down to the end of that hallway, and that will be where we are at. So come on in and see us. Thanks again for stopping in, watching us on FlintTalkRadio.com.
Thank you.